Hello people, my name is Crystal. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome old subscribers, welcome new. If you like my videos, please press the like button, please do subscribe. Alexa, what's the time please?
The time is 7:16 p.m.
Right, so this afternoon I went downstairs and I had one letter in my post box and that was water aid, nothing else. So I don't know if somebody's put a wrong letter in someone's letterbox and I've received another letter. I haven't got a clue, but this says Crystal Marshall, which is me. Debt letter. Debt letter. So about 10 to 7, same time as yesterday, except I didn't get a dog barking all down the corridor at me. 10 to 7, I left the building and I went out the back of the flats. I didn't take my camera with me because you really can't pick up that much in the dark anyway. So I went out round the back just with Max. I left the kitten in the flat, obviously. And there was a train coming into the station, a nice blue one. I walked down past the car parks, and I walked just where I walked yesterday, the exact same route. I didn't go onto the field. I certainly don't walk anymore on the field in the pitch black. I've got a terrible cold, a cough. I think I'm coming down with the flu, so I just really want to stay indoors and rest. I don't want to go anywhere at all. It was a struggle because I've got, like, you know, you get that phlegm built up in your chest and you just want to cough it up and it's painful. So I've got all this phlegm stuck here and I have to keep spitting it out because it gets stuck down there and it's painful. So I walked around the field. I didn't actually see one person, to be fair. I saw people closing their blinds, closing their curtains. I didn't have my camera out with me. I was just going for a walk with my dog. So I saw somebody, silhouette, walking onto the field and I thought, bugger that, I'm not going onto the field. I've got this terrible cold. Oh, and there was a guy with a bag and a beanie hat on going into the co-op. And then when I returned home, I walked up the street where I live and there was some guys laughing, a group of men laughing. It weren't female voices, there was a load of men laughing. But like I said, I haven't got my camera, so I've just come into the building and I always look in my post box. It's a habit because I've had people put cards in there, Jesus loves you, or some takeaway leaflets or crap. So I thought I'll look in my letterbox. You know, somebody's laughed, roared with laughter. I've been called a puff by Medway Council, and now we've got a letter with others on it. Huddersfield, a debt letter from Huddersfield. So, action required on your overdue account. Please get in touch and let us know how you will be clearing your outstanding Capital One account. Right, so it's Capital One and they've obviously taken over from an account of some description and they're saying that I owe them £650.42. Well, you can fuck off. You haven't even told me what the debt is. And you can stick that up where the sun don't shine. What happens when you get in touch? We'll listen to what you say. And someone's desperate for money, look. £650. I've got 666 is the account number. 666 is the account number in Capital One. And this is a made up load of bollocks. You know what you can do with that, don't you? You can keep that load of bollocks and shove it in the dustbin. 650 quid, yeah, my ass. Whoever's desperate for money, beg for it. That's that out the way. That hasn't upset me at all. I will have my lights look great coming up down the road. They're flashing on and off, and I love them. Took me 3 minutes just to put them along the balcony. Because you remember that guy, he rang my buzzer and he said, I've just rung your buzzer because your balcony lights are on the pavement and I don't want to get them broken. But I've got some new ones now. And they're a lot better. I'm really pleased with those. They're outdoor lights and indoor lights, but I wanted them because I've seen people have lights like that on their balconies and I wonder where they got them from, and they come from eBay. And yeah, this is what I went out in. I mean, I'm here to make people laugh. That's what I'm here for. We don't want people to be miserable, do we? So if people think it's funny laughing at me, that's what I'm here for. Just unzipped the banana coat. Go ahead, laugh all you like. It's better than crying, isn't it? And I certainly don't lose sleep over bullies. I don't lose one bit of sleep over bullies. They're not worth it. Alexa, LBC Radio.
LBC London from Global Player.
Were completely despised, then you wouldn't be 25 points ahead.
No. I guarantee you, it is the Labour Party that are 25 points ahead, and not him personally. Secondly, I'd like to say this: he's made a big mistake, because you look at his front bench. I haven't looked at all the majorities, yes, but West Streeting is in hot water. And West Streeting, I think, should get his bags packed just in case.
Hot water in what respect? Because of his constituents?
Yes, his majority is 1,100. The last time I saw, 1,190.
West Streeting? Oh no, he's got a much bigger majority now. He used to have a very small majority, but he's got a much bigger majority now. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but it's much bigger than that.
The thing is, I can't see West Streeting or any other front bench ministers, shadow ministers, having a comfortable night come election night.
Well,
thirdly, I must say this, and it is an important thing. All your listeners know that Netanyahu helped fund and assist Hamas to gain the position it is in right now. Now, the thing is, a lot of your commentators often say to callers like me, have you read the Hamas Constitution? Yes, or the Hamas Charter?
yeah.
The question you have to ask yourself is, I can guarantee you, as educated people with probably law degrees in the Knesset, they would have read the Hamas Charter, but still funded this organization.
All right. Okay, Jack.
Hold on.
You've had a long say now, Jack. But I think we're getting rather into the weeds of these things. Jason is in Malden. By the way, just in case anyone was wondering, majority of Wes, as I was saying, it's actually over 5,000. We've just checked over 5,000. Jason in Malden.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I wasn't very happy with that last call, to be absolutely honest with you, but still.
Yeah.
The lady that came on, she forgot to mention that around 20,000 people from Gaza were crossing into Israel daily to work.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the reason this happened in October the 7th, is because Israel basically let their guard down because it was becoming a much better place and a better environment. So the security started lapsing a little bit. But the thought and the discussion of a ceasefire whilst they're holding 240 hostages is absolutely ludicrous. I don't know what country in the world would discuss a ceasefire if they were holding 240 hostages. Never mind what the terror attack that actually happened in Israel, and they need to rid Hamas. How are you going to discuss a ceasefire whilst whilst they're holding these hostages. At what point did you discuss that ceasefire?
Yeah, I completely understand that, and I've got some sympathy with it, Jason, and that is what Keir Starmer was saying. I suppose the point is that two things can be true, can't they? Is that it is extremely difficult to see how a ceasefire can happen while the hostages are being held, but it's also true to say no one can deny that lots of innocent people are getting killed, lots of innocent Palestinians, just as those Israelis are innocent, and two wrongs don't make a right.
It's not about two wrongs don't make a right. One country is being run by a terrorist organisation, which everybody knows that, except Jeremy Corbyn. But the reality of it is that we're trying to get rid of Hamas that helps the world.
But you're never going to. But Jason, that's another separate point as well, isn't it? Again, this is complicated. It's not black and white, but the chances of Israel being able to completely destroy Hamas militarily are very, very slim. Are very, very slim. And at what cost? That's the conundrum everyone's grappling with, right? And it's not an easy answer, but the cost could be so high in terms of civilian deaths that it is legitimate for people to say that is disproportionate.
Yeah, but what's not legitimate is come tomorrow, there's going to be probably another 500,000 people running around the streets of London singing From the River to the Sea.
Yeah,
right?
I was there last weekend, I saw that.
Yeah. And I'm in Oxford Street every weekend, and I'm having to sit, and at the end of it, I'm then having to see people driving around in cars with Palestinian flags wrapped around them, having a party. And I don't really understand the whole essence of it. So when you've got the Labour leader talking how he was talking at the end of the interview with you, that's how every single Jew in Britain is feeling at the moment, yeah? Because we know what the truth is. We know what the truth is. So, and this lady you had talking...
I understand. I understand, Jay. I suppose the question is, just to go back to your point with what you said about the hostages, which I totally get it, but I suppose the point is that if in some hypothetical scenario there were 200 British hostages being killed somewhere, I'm not sure if the British government killed lots and lots of civilians in response. You say no other country would be judged to that standard. I think Britain would be judged to that standard in those circumstances, don't you?
Well, what did they do in America when after 9/11? What happened then?
Well, 9/11 was in Afghanistan.
Well, of course, I mean, they wiped out the whole country because they believed that they were responsible for it. But
that itself was not exactly controversy-free, was it? I mean, that's what I'm saying. They were scrutinised in exactly the same way that Israel is being now.
But then if you put it into a different way, it's very, very hard to do a like-to-like situation. But Scotland breaks away from the UK, they become a terrorist organisation, they come into England, they kill 1,400 people in the most despicable way ever, they then take 240 hostages. What English person would sit back and think, oh no, let's have a ceasefire while they're holding hostages after what they've just done to babies, women, children? You just wouldn't do it. You just go in and obliterate Scotland until you felt that you've actually succeeded. And that's just the reality of the world. But because Israel's doing it, we've got this kind of different view on it.
All right, Jason, thanks so much. Yeah, I think you put your finger on it exactly when you said you can't compare a situation, and I don't think the potential Scotland-England comparison gets us very far. Let's go to Jenny in Ipswich. Jenny.
Well, I'd just like to quote Mr. Tedros, the head of the World Health Organization today, who said, there are no words to describe the horrors that are playing out in Palestine at the moment. For most of I would think, of the general populace of this country and across the world, there are no words left to describe what is happening every day, every minute to this population of Gaza and also the West Bank. It's absolutely disgraceful. There is no fuel, there is no electricity, there's sewage in the streets, there's no place to run and there's no place to hide. It is actually a genocide. Why? Because people are being told where to go, movement of population. The healthcare system is completely dismantled, it's not there.
Yeah.
And it can slow torture of death if you're not blasted.
Jenny, would you accept the logic to say that it is very difficult for Israel and the Israeli government to say no more as long as those hostages are being released? Hamas should just release the hostages.
I don't think they're doing a very good job of protecting their hostages by bombing and blasting each of the...
Sure, but you would agree that Hamas should release the hostages and that might get us a bit further along?
There are no military outcomes here for the Israelis.
But you would agree that Hamas should release the hostages?
I think this genocide needs...
Why wouldn't you just say that Hamas should release the hostages? That's just like an absolute basic, right? Those are innocent people that are being held.
I think there's 12,000 people dead. They've got...
Yeah, but let's not do what about really. Like you know what I find frustrating about this debate? A human life is a human life. An Israeli being held at gunpoint by Hamas is just as tragic and being killed in that circumstance as a Palestinian being killed by an Israeli bomb. You would agree?
I think we look at the law, we need to look at proportionality.
No, but you would agree what I just said, that a life is a life.
I think that the bloodshed needs to stop.
Why wouldn't you just agree with that? You know what, Jenny? You're part of the problem with this debate. Like, why? I do not understand how you couldn't just agree with those statements. A life is a life, whether it's a Palestinian life or an Israeli life. No?
To your previous caller, I would like to say that all of the marches that have taken place...
No, but don't forget about the caller. I'm asking you a question about whether a life is a life.
Absolutely. And when you're talking about in excess of 12,000 lives, we're looking at proportionality.
Yeah. So I think. So let me tell you my position. So my position is that the fighting should stop. Hamas should release the hostages and give an undertaking that this is not going to happen. October the 7th is not going to happen again, and then the Israelis stop the bombing. What's wrong with that?
I'd like to ask you a question.
No, I'm asking you a question. Why on earth wouldn't you say? Why wouldn't you? Well, fine. But why on earth wouldn't you agree, Jenny? Jenny, I'm sorry. I have asked you. I tell you what. How would you feel? How would you feel if one of your relatives was being held at gunpoint by a Hamas fighter? And you're just. And I've asked you just to say that you think those hostages should be released, and you have several times demurred from doing so. What kind of position is that? You're happy, so you think those hostages should be kept where they are?
Do you know what I actually think?
I don't know what you think. I don't know what you're going to come out with here.
Talking is over. Ceasefire. Ceasefire.
And release the hostages.
So all of those people...
I find you know what, Jenny? I find your dismissal of a particular life because of the type of life that it is chilling in the extreme and disturbing. I think we're going to leave it there. As you know, people who listen to this show, I'm normally more interested in what people think and understanding how they think rather than sort of expressing my own view in that particular way. But I have to say, I think Jenny absolutely epitomises what is wrong with this debate. Too many people in this debate seem to believe that a particular type of life on one side is worth more than another. What happened to Enlightenment liberal universalism? Universal human liberal values and rights. For me, a Palestinian life is as tragic loss as an Israeli life, and a Hamas fighter or as holding an Israeli hostage is abhorrent. Likewise, a Palestinian child being killed by an Israeli bomb is abhorrent. And if people could just stop this whataboutery and constantly fetishizing their particular political side of this, which is just part of their identity, and their politics just seems to matter more than those universal liberal values, then at least in this country, we like that somewhere. We're going to continue the conversation. We're also going to have our business update as well. But first, before we do, let's get the very latest LBC News headlines with Amelia Cox.
Sir Keir Starmer says he's not daunted by the prospect of becoming Prime Minister, but worries about his family. The Labour leader has told Lewis he asks himself repeatedly how to protect them. A Sheffield Wednesday fan who mocked the death of young mascot Bradley Lowry has avoided jail, but 32-year-old Dale Horton has been banned from football for 5 years after taunting Sunderland fans in September. And Everton has dropped to 19th in the Premier League after receiving a 10-point deduction for breaking financial fair play rules. The club says it will be appealing the decision. LBC weather dry and clear in the north and east to start tonight. Wet and windy weather spreading from the southwest overnight. A low of freezing.
LBC.
We don't treat ourselves.
Right, guys, that was a very, very, very heated debate there, wasn't it, on LBC Radio with Jenny? Right, I'm going to get off now because Max is demanding my attention. He's been a bit naughty. See you later.